bien le Viagra? Bah écoute, on en a, évidemment, on en a.
Eh ben, j'aimerais bien en prendre un petit peu.
Si. Vous voulez vous amuser avec ça?
C'est pas dangereux pour le cœur?
Non, pas du tout. Non, ça ne
rien du tout. Pour le foie?
Aucun souci.
Alors donne-moi une boîte juste.
Mais non, mais on n'a pas besoin de ça.
Ça dure combien de temps?
Ouais, ça dure 12 heures, donc.
12 heures?
Oui, mais prendre ça.
Non, mais j'ai envie d'essayer, parce qu'il paraît que c'est vraiment...
Ça marche, c'est radical.
la fleur fusil, quoi.
Absolument.
Je vais te promener dans la rue. Pardon, excusez-moi. Hein? Et tu sais qu'il y en a un nouveau qui est sorti?
Non, quoi, non.
Si, ça s'appelle le Viazac.
Le Viazac?
C'est un mélange de Viagra et de Prozac. Et ça fait que tu bandes plus, mais tu t'en fous.
Maïwenn,
Maïwenn, love stories usually end badly. You are not changing our view on that matter. You're talking about... I think the film can be interpreted in different ways. It's not particularly an unhappy ending. It depends which point of view you're taking. From Tony's point of view, played by Emmanuelle Bercot, from her point of view, she's reconstructing herself rather than telling the story of a couple that is breaking up. You can read so many things, there are many levels. It depends what your mindset is when you see the film, if you're feeling happy or sad. You chose Emmanuelle Bercot as your actress. You, Maïwenn, are an actress. You too could have played the role. Why did you choose to give it to Emmanuelle? Well, I was in my first 3 films, so I completed the trilogy. I wanted to see what it was like not to be an actress in my own film. Also, it was a very difficult role. And I didn't feel that I could do 2 things at once, play such a difficult role and do the direction part. Why did you choose Emmanuelle in particular? Well, I wanted an actress who was still fresh, that we hadn't seen too many times, someone who's very unique. I didn't want a pin-up. Emmanuelle's not a pin-up. I wanted someone with a bit of mystery. And she corresponded perfectly to the character Tony. Emmanuelle, it's wonderful what you do on the screen in this film. How did you prepare this role? I imagine there was a lot of work inside yourself that you had to do to prepare the role.
Maïwenn a une façon de travailler particulière.
Maïwenn has a unique way of working. Everybody knows that.
Elle était, on est comme au moment où la journée démarre, on monte sur le ring et puis on
we get up into the boxing ring and we only leave it when the day is ended. And when you're up there in the boxing ring, Maïwenn's with you. We improvise a lot.
J'aimais bien qu'elle me souffle.
I like Maïwenn to give me guidelines and suggests answers. Vincent doesn't like that, but I love that when she prompts me.
Vincent, justement, sur cette manière de travailler.
How do you feel about this way of working?
Quel effet ça vous a fait, Vincent Cassel?
Je remercierai jamais assez
I can never thank Maïwenn enough to have given us so much freedom.
Quand on dit le texte qui est écrit, elle n'est pas contente.
You read the text, well, it's great.
Et puis au bout d'un moment, elle nous emmène dans des impros qui sont finalement pas du tout des impros. Quand on dit le mot impro, les gens pensent que c'est n'importe quoi, mais c'est pas du tout ça.
When you use the word improvisation, you might imagine that you're doing any old thing, but it's not that. There are guidelines.
Elle nous met dans une position où il
And
faut
so she
fournir
puts
avec
us
ses
in
réactions,
a place where we have to rely on our own experience.
Et comme je pense qu'elle n'a jamais perdu de vue son propos,
and she never lost her original message. She would allow us to go off on tangents, but then
le film est super.
She edits, and at the end of the day, the film is wonderful.
My question is a bit provocative. The film clearly shows the addiction a woman can have for her king, for her roi. And I'm sure many women in the room were able to identify with that. What do you think about this issue? Do you think it's a specifically female problem? And if so, what do you think about it? In this film, she thinks constantly about her son and not much about her work or her values. Did you do this on purpose? This passion seems to, in fact, destroy her own personal identity. Contrary to you, I don't think that this kind of addiction concerns only women. I think that men have a very different way of managing it, but they're equally addict. In my film, the Giorgio I created is addicted to the woman he loves, and he explains it in the film. It's just that he has a different way of being addicted. He has a different way of fighting for his couple. Men and women have the same feelings, but they express them differently. In other words, everything that helps one to love and to continue to love, that is family, money, work, friends. I had to make choices. There were many more scenes of Tony, who was working, defending her cases because she's a lawyer. But I had to make certain choices. And in the end, I decided to focus on their mutual feelings instead of meandering. And the scene where you see Tony at work, well, I thought these scenes might, in fact, distract the spectators. Women, just like men, as soon as there is a passionate love affair, the solution consists in work. And contrary to you, one can sense as the film unfolds that she decides that her solution, in order to survive psychologically, consists in working extremely hard. And you see them at the end of the film, eating in a cafe, a brasserie. You can see that Giorgio wants to keep her to himself, yet she wants to gain her independence through her work. And she realizes that this is very salutary. She understands the man, that Giorgio loves her, but in a very possessive way. Tony realizes that it's totally impossible to achieve fulfillment, because she clearly saw in Giorgio's eyes that he wasn't happy about her professional success. Of course, she's prepared to love him at all costs, except when she comes to realize that he's not happy with her professional career and success. One has to be careful with these relationships, particularly when one's partner wants to keep the other person at a very low level professionally. In an interview, Maïwenn, you said, Emmanuelle, you said you hesitated before accepting.
Parce que j'avais peur.
I was afraid.
Parce que ça me paraissait. Bon, moi, c'est un cadeau extraordinaire que m'a fait Maïwenn.
It's an extraordinary gift that Maïwenn gave me when she offered me this character. But I felt perhaps it was too much for my frail shoulders. I feared that I might not live up to her expectations and her great faith in me. That was the first point. Second, when I read the script, I said to Maïwenn, you need to have a much more beautiful girl, a girl with long, slender legs. And she said to me, it's my film. I'm the director. I know what's best. What convinced me, well, I didn't really need to be convinced, because I dreamt of being in a film again with Maïwenn. I can't remember what I was going to say now. What convinced you? Yes, what convinced me was that I love Maïwenn's work. I have full trust in her. So I said to myself, well, if she chooses you, it's because she believes in me. So I hesitated out of fear. When she talked to me about the film for the first time, the script wasn't ready, and I needed to read the script to see if I was capable of doing what she expected. With Maïwenn, you really need to go the whole hog. You can't just half-act. And Vincent, did you hesitate? No, I really loved her preceding films, and in particular, Police. When she called me, I very quickly said yes. In fact, he never said yes. I'd like to specify that. He read the script and he called me up and said, "Shall we get together and see each other?" I said yes, in an hour's time. And he spent an hour and a half telling me all about what he didn't like. And then at the end I said, "Okay, so it's no good, I have to work on it again." He said, "No, it's okay." So I wondered, and I called the producer and I said, "Well, I think he said yes, but I'm not quite sure why he said yes." During the filming, I understood that he was like that. He needs to be totally plunged in his work. He likes playing the devil's advocate. In these two answers, what I note is that actresses have doubts and directors have doubts, and that was perhaps the topic of the film, and I'm in the middle. I don't understand what you mean. I'll tell you later. But I always wanted to play in this film. I worked on the film with Maïwenn and Emmanuelle, and I ended up going into new territories, new waters, with apparently a total liberty. I'd like all films to be like that. What touched you in this character who is fairly despicable? I'd like to say something right at the beginning. In the script, I felt the character was really despicable. And I made tremendous efforts, and Maïwenn agreed with this in the end. I made tremendous efforts to save him. I really fought for the status of men. People always say it's difficult being a woman. I have no doubt as to that. But it's also very difficult to be a man, particularly in a love story. Why are you looking at me?
Mais je comprends pas. À part moi, en fait, avant moi. T'as été qu'avec des mannequins?
Non.
T'as été avec une fille normale, toi?
Comment ça, normale?
Bah, une fille comme moi, une fille normale.
Est-ce que toi, tu crois que t'es normale, toi?
Oui, je suis normale.
Mais t'es pas normale du tout, toi.
Si, mais tu vois, tu m'as compris.
It's not bad, not bad. So you're the king. You're a king in Mathieu Garrel's film, and you're the king for Maïwenn.
Ça fait un peu vieux rocker, hein, le king quand même, non?
Yeah, it's a bit like an old rock star, no? The king. What did you experience with Maïwenn that you hadn't seen before? A feeling of freedom and the way that she makes films. And I think that with the others as well, and with Emmanuelle Bercot, and I think there's a spontaneity in the scenes and the lines, and it's good. So you're very moved to show the film. I like this film, and I'm thrilled to show it. There's some weird things, and so I'm looking forward to the lights going down and people living it with it. I think you were frightened of playing, you know. When did you stop being frightened? Once it started, because of Maïwenn, you know that if you don't give yourself 100% now, it's not going to work. So then, I just let myself go. And when you let yourself go, you can't be afraid. I don't want people to feel things in particular. I want people to travel, to have a journey, to say, you know, you don't always choose people you love, but it's nevertheless a great love.